Hi everyone, hope you are having a good day. The sunshine is coming out here, so we're very thankful for that. Today, I'd like to talk to you about dealing with darkness, and the darkness today is discrepancies. Um, the definition of discrepancies that I found out on the internet is a discrepancy is a lack of agreement or balance. And as we spoke about yesterday, darkness is simply the absence of light. But I'll start off with a narrative. Sometime towards the end of last year, I was in Birmingham, UK, not Birmingham, Alabama. Never been, but probably will go in the future. But I was in Birmingham, in the West Midlands. I can't remember what I went there for, but I was heading home, so heading back to Leicester. And there were so I went into the bull ring, and I was heading to go catch my train. And there was this girl who was selling something in the bull ring, and she attempted to stop me. I was in a rush, and I knew that whatever it was she was trying to sell to me, I wouldn't be needing it. So I smiled at her, and I shook my head, and I kept going. But when I got to the platform, I realized I had missed my train. And I only had about 7% battery left or so, and my next train wasn't going to be arriving until about an hour and a half or so. So I started to walk around the bull ring to look for somewhere to charge my phone. Now, guess what? Right next to where this girl had tried to stop me was a like a charging facility. They have like charging booths. However, in Birmingham, um, some of the people there, break the lockers, and they steal your phones. In Leicester, you can actually leave your phone there, lock it, take the key with you, and just go about your business. But not in Birmingham. They'd broken the lockers, so the lockers were wide open, which meant that I had to stand there. Now I walk with my charger, um, but I didn't have anywhere to plug the charger into. And guess who offered me a charging port? The same girl that I had said no to. Now, if I had been mean to her when I was walking by, I don't think she would have offered me that charging port. But she kindly offered it to me. I was able to charge my phone, um, and just go ahead with the evening. So I just wanted to just talk to you about discrepancies and use that story as an example. If um, if I had been mean to her for whatever reason, because I was in a rush, or I didn't want to talk to her, going back to the same sort of area that she was in would have been quite a tricky one for me. But because I had remained nice to her, even though I had said no to her offer to come talk to her about whatever product she was selling. She felt comfortable enough to be able to offer me the help that I needed, which was very kind of her. So, so that's that story. So I just wanted you to just bear that up whilst I'm just talking about dealing with discrepancies. What I found with regards to life and interacting with people is that sometimes there's a huge discrepancy between the people that we portray to be in public and the people that we actually are in the privacy of our homes. And sometimes the discrepancy can be seen in our behavior, or it can be seen in the values that we purport to have for our lives. So there could be a discrepancy between our public persona and our private persona. So some examples are: you're nice to people that you work with or people that you don't know, but at home you're abrupt and you're rude. You're generous with time and money with people that you don't know, but with the people that you do know, you're stingy and mean spirited. You're extremely jovial and bubbly, the life of the party when you're outdoors, but when you're indoors, you're extremely quiet and reserved. Um, yeah, so those are some examples, and that shows up in like behavior in relation to values. Some people tend to say that they uphold certain values, so like respect. They say that respect is one of their values, yet they're rude to people that they do know personally. And sometimes we can come out I was being rude. So I'm not talking about just one-off situations. I'm talking about consistent values and consistent behavior. Sometimes you could say like you hold patience as a value, but you're incredibly impatient with your spouse, incredibly impatient with your children, and so that's a value that some people know you as upholding, but then others who are much closer to you don't actually have that experience with you. And then there's the value of order. Some people say that they value order in their lives and they need things to be a certain way, but yet their personal spaces are totally disordered. And so these are discrepancies that these are some example of discrepancies that can exist in our lives. So COVID-19 response, what I'd suggest is to actually take the time to actually identify discrepancies, and we all have them in some way or the other. One of mine was one of mine was sometimes I would have a tendency to be quite snappy with people who were close to me, but then I had to then have a look at myself and find out why, what exactly is going on. Why am I being so snappy? Why am I being so abrupt? Why am I being so irritable? Now that we're in isolation, this is the time to actually dig deep and identify those discrepancies. You can do that by observing yourself. You can do that by getting feedback from people who love you, people who are close to you. They can give you feedback on areas within your life that you need to change. Now, once you've identified those discrepancies, make a list, but don't try and deal with everything at a time. I heard a story in one of John Maxwell's audio recordings, and he said in that when someone at the circus goes in to try and tame a lion, they go in with a chair with four legs. What that does to the lion is that the lion tries to focus on all four legs at the same time, and in so doing, it paralyzes that lion. So what I'm saying to you is, instead of trying to focus on four things at the same time, or five things at the same time, or seven things at the same time, just pick one. Make the list, but then pick one. So if it's order, if it's respect, if it's patience, just pick one, work at that consistently. When you start to see improvements and you feel comfortable with the level that you're attaining, because we're all a work in progress, no one is actually perfect. So, but once you get to a place whereby you think, I've got things under control, sometimes you will slip because you're human, and that's okay. Again, forgive yourself, but just know what it is that you're actually aspiring to and what you're working towards. So take one thing at a time. Ignore everything else and just work on that one thing until you've actually mastered it to a comfortable level, and then you move on to the next thing. So 2019, COVID-19, my advice to you is to deal with discrepancies, so that there can be a balance instead of an imbalance between who some people know you as and who others know you as. You want a consistency. So when people are talking about you at home, the people outside of your home recognize you. When people outside of your home are talking about you, the people at home recognize you. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's helpful to you. Please feel free to share this with whomever you think needs to hear it. And have a wonderful day. Stay positive. Bye.